Are you ready to stop comparing and start living your life? Hi, everyone. I'm Steffi, and welcome to the Magnetic Online Leaders Podcast, my YouTube channel. And today we're going to be talking about comparison, the thief of joy, and why I want you, and for myself, what I'm doing, a 30-day comparison detox where we're going to really tap into our own channel, our own power, so we stop comparing ourselves. We stop the invisible measuring stick. This always comes as a shock to people when I tell them that I was very insecure, had tons of self-worth, self-image stuff that I needed to work on. And one of the biggest hurdles for me to this day still, which I need to always check, is comparison. Comparison is one of those things that it rears its dirty little head and it stops you from doing the thing you want to do, taking the leap, putting yourself out there because, oh, so-and-so did it better, or there's not enough space, or it's saturated, or whatever excuse that you make up for yourself. And by the end of this video, I want to make sure that you stop comparison, like you can stop it in its tracks. You can understand what's coming up and you can just eliminate it, not forever, because it's never going to go away. It's part of being human. It's part of being part of this human experience. But it is no longer going to stop you. It is no longer going to convince you that you're not worthy. What I've learned about comparison is that it can show up in either two ways. And these two ways are very sneaky and tricky, especially the second one. But the first one is the I'm not good enough comparison. This one can be disguised in multiple ways. I'm not good enough, smart enough, thin enough, successful enough, rich enough, I don't have the friends enough. It can be in multiple ways. It doesn't have to just be in your self-worth, but it is in something that is very, very subtle and you could hide it from yourself. And this I am not enough really stops us from achieving and getting the things that we want. And it really affects our self-worth, and our self-worth affects our confidence, and our confidence affects our ability to do things in this world. Comparison is something I personally struggled with for many years. And when I think about it, it just was really disconnecting me from my power. And the not enough one, the first type of comparison, is telling yourself that you have to wait for some type of magical circumstance, some type of magical fairy, wand, person, thing to give you the thing that you want. It is telling you that it's outside of you, which is absolute BS. That is not true. And what you have to do is understand that the power comes within you. And I'll go into that in another episode about the power, about personal power and circumstantial power. But what I want to talk about is how these two types stop us. The second one is I'm better than them. I'm better than everyone. I'm better than her. Really disconnects us from not even just that person, but it disconnects us from our power. It disconnects us from our compassion. It disconnects us from our growth. When you feel like you're better than somebody, when you put yourself on this self-righteousness, this self-righteous of like, I've got it going on. And there's nothing wrong with some self-importance and confidence. I want you to have that, boo. I want you to have that. That is extremely important. But what happens is, and this is actually very, very biologically wired into us, human nature stuff, is that we have this invisible measuring stick where you want to see where you stand with other people. Oh, I'm better than her, but I'm not as good as her. Oh, I actually have achieved this faster than that person, but oh my God, that person did that results in like 30 days. Like I can't do that. It really starts to make things very linear, and you start to be in this hierarchy of who is better than, and it just disconnects you. It can also show up in I've worked harder than her, so I deserve this more than her. And this, again, like I said, is just damaging. It disconnects us from our compassion, from our growth, from our power, and from our heart. And I have been on both sides of this coin. I have definitely been on the number one more of like not feeling enough, but also on the second one of feeling like I'm better, I'm all that in a bag of chips, right? But the thing is, you have to remind yourself that everyone has their own unique flavor, their own way of doing things, their own bag of chips, like they say, all that in a bag of chips. Like, you know what? I'm going to be salsa verde and she's going to be Cool Ranch, and we both are still incredible and still amazing. What I want to ride home about is that comparison is absolutely natural. It is actually wired into us. It is biology, it is wired into our DNA. So this is nothing to be ashamed about. We all have it, we all struggle with it time to time. Just others have better coping mechanisms. And I want that for you. I want you to have that better way of how to handle your comparison and when it comes up. Because our brains are wired to see where we stand. But when it dictates our worth, when it puts us against somebody, it is extremely harmful. And that is what I would love for you to take away from this episode, is for you to understand, where are you going? Which of those two types are you going? Are you going to the not enough, or are you going to the I'm better than them? And how are you disconnecting? Because the not enough is disconnecting from the self, and the better than is disconnecting from others. I want you to join me on this exploration that I'm going to be doing of a 30-day comparison detox. What does that mean? That means that anything that I compare myself to somebody, that I say, oh, I'm better than, or, she's better than, I am eliminating that. I am unfollowing, I am unsubscribing, I am being in my own channel. This doesn't mean that I'm not consuming certain things. I'm consuming YouTube growth stuff. I'm consuming things for my business and for my agency. But what I am tapping into is I'm tapping into my own channel, and I'm not comparing myself to anyone but myself. I am seeing the growth. I'm watching past videos. If you want to look at your old art, look at the way that you styled yourself, look at old photos, look at the way that you did things in the past. Give so much love and compassion to that part of you. Be like, oh my God, I love her so much. I love what she's done. She's so incredible. But I get to get better. I get to evolve. Like Melanie Ann Lair says, evolution and growth, evolution and growth. I get to evolve. I get to grow. I get to elevate. I get to expand. I get to change. I get to metamorphosis. I get to transform. And that is what you're going to be doing if you decide to do this fun 30-day comparison. I mean, maybe it's fun. It could be fun. This 30-day comparison detox, where you're going to see where you are comparing yourself and just cut it. Kind of like cold turkey, turn it off, mute it. You don't have to be in that space anymore. You don't have to. You don't have to anymore. Thank you so much for joining me on the Magnetic Online Leaders podcast and the YouTube channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below of which of the two types you tend to default to more. Are you the I'm not enough girly, or you are the I'm better than everyone kind of girly? And where can you find a balance and a harmony? We can totally ditch the I'm not enough one, but what we can create is with the one that I'm better than them. I do believe that there's some form of self-importance that we need, but how can you create a confident and clear and non-competitive way just with yourself? So take this time, assess which one you tend to default into. I do believe that I'm better than everyone has different layers, and I'll talk about that in another episode. I don't necessarily think you have to go completely selfless, but you need to understand that side to side to someone, no one is better than you, and you are not better than anyone. There's no needing for a pedestal. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no need for a pedestal, and you don't put yourself on a pedestal. You are shoulder to shoulder with these people, and you are creating your explorations, your creativity, and they are doing the same themselves. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.